Hello, everybody. It is 9:43 on the Pacific Ocean. Well, on the California side, it's 12:43 on the Atlantic Ocean. Well, on the United States side, right? Come to think of it, it makes you realize just how big California is when you can't point to a comparable East Coast state that encompasses just the entire eastern seaboard, right? Nope. Anyway, um, and I am also on late, mainly because just was personal, helping my mom, uh, just talking, her pain had come back, and I'm supposed to be leaving, but I'm always skittish about. She hates when I say this, but hey, I can't help it, right? This way I am. Um, so yeah, it's a tough year, boy. I'm telling you, it is just a tough year. It just is a tough year. It's just the way it is. Anyway, um, it's a tough year, uh, but it's a fascinating day in the world of hypermedia. The hypermedia is a term that I use from time to time, although I don't think I've ever used it on my channel. It's the first time. Hey, Barry Lee, how you doing? To describe just the little bombardment of information that people get all day, every day and night. And one of those, there's a number of big pieces of information, of course, and in the NFL, there's Le'Veon Bell being slapped with a franchise tag. There is, of course, um President Trump. You just can't ignore that, folks. That was. This is one of those days, okay, when you will say to yourself, "Hey, Ed, how you doing?" You will say to yourself, "Where was I when that happened?" And someone would say, "I was blank." And the question will be, "Where were you when the Trump Putin summit happened?" Right? Were you sleeping in bed? uh, where were you? Right? Folks, I have never been. That's why I wanted to keep this open, because there are a number of directions, things we can talk about, but this is an 800-pound gorilla. I have never, ever, as Corey Brown just tapped, Trump sold us out. I've never been so flummoxed in all of my life. Rob Ivan saw it in the break room. Eduardo Martinez said he was at the DMV working on getting his Class A driver's license. See, everybody was someplace when it happened. It was like, hey, wait a minute, you know? I have never seen an American president quite literally throw his own country under the bus, and it's okay. According to Rand Paul, it's okay. You know, we need to reset our relationship with Russia. I thought, what? Uh, hey, John, how you doing? I thought, what? And that called into question everything, almost everything I thought I knew. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I was going to say I don't know how to process it because I don't. We are conditioned to want to believe the President of the United States, right? Rob Ivan says Trump will pay in the midterms. Rob, I hope so. I really do. Because, I mean, the way this has gone down, this is how I read it, okay? This is how I read it. That there was a segment about Donald Trump and his golf courses on MSNBC, I think, the night before. And Rob Iman says that Trump is merely unfit to serve as president. My mom is saying that. And Ed says, wow, is he going senile? Is he just plain crazy? You know, there is something there. But I was going to say that there was a segment on his golf courses in Scotland. and in Ireland. He's fond of saying, Mr. President Trump, he says, I own property all over the world. But they say this is not making any money, and they don't know where the cash is coming from to pay for it because it's not generating the cash on its own. The bills get paid, but in terms of revenue and expenses, the expenses outweigh the actual revenue from golf users. But it's okay because the rest of it's covered, right? The bills get paid. So how could that be? The operators, the former operators say they don't know where the money comes from. And I'm thinking, it was laundered. And somewhere, it has to be. You know, there's this old saying that I actually learned from Star Trek. It's when the most, if the answer seems to be outlandish yet is obvious, then it's the answer. And folks, the answer seems to be very outlandish, but it's also very logical. It's very obvious. It's like it's in our face. Okay. And Barry Lee says, I agree with Chris, CNN's Anderson Cooper when he said that Trump is the worst president in history. Hey, CJW, how are you doing? Well, yeah, but that aside for the moment, we're compelled to talk about the components of this problem, all right? And first of all, we have to start with this. I don't care what Donald Trump said. He didn't expect to win. But he didn't get involved in this, I believe, unless, I think he handled this like an investment banking scheme. In other words, like an insider trading scheme. I'm not going to do this unless I know I can win. In other words, if I'm going to go all in, I've got to have a mechanism that assures victory. So they basically partner with the Russians, who have every desire to see him win because they have money tied up in him, laundered money, and they concoct this scheme to fool and cajole the American public into voting for him, indirectly, or at least, right? And he's figured out, Trump has, all he has to do is continue what I call that, using that rock to create the sparks, to start to create the fires, keep doing that, and he fans the flames, right? And he does that with his commentary, fans the flames. So he has the bully pulpit, and the flames that he fans causes dissension, divide and conquer. Now all this is theory, but guess what? It worked. So it's like, oh my God, you know, we won. And so suddenly they're scrambling around because they had no plan for victory. Everything was chaos. You know, first you have one campaign manager, then it's Corn Lewandowski, then he pulls the girl's arm, and then he gets fired. Okay? It's all this chaos. At some point you have to settle from chaos to normalcy. And here you have this guy in the White House who is richer in terms of what he controls than we are led to believe, because no one's ever seen his tax returns, right? And so Rob Iman says he's disappointed that the California Democratic Party is not endorsing Feinstein. So am I, but she'll win anyway. Corey Brown says if Trump can be president, then surely I can too. Yep. John says I don't think Trump stands a chance of getting reelected. Hopefully he doesn't even run. Riley says even a lot of the Fox News anchors didn't agree with Trump. No, it's a new territory for everybody, but it begs the question. On Oakland News Now, I found a photograph that I used as part of today's coverage, which I think sums up, at least for me, what a lot of people, including yourself, may be thinking. All right. Oh, by the way, if you are going to be in the Bay Area for Rugby Sevens, women's rugby is having a party. Okay, Oakland fundraising party. You can read about it there. But this is what I wrote. What the hell is going on? Click on the photo for the news. But you see that? Okay. And if you want to read the article, what you have to do is click on this, and it's going to take you to the blog post that I wrote here after Trump-Putin summit. President Trump accused of treason on Twitter with hashtag treason summit, right? And then go down, and that photograph is from the White House press pool sent directly to me, by the way. So, but again, the question is, what the hell is going on? Donald Trump looked like the Manchurian Candidate. You ever see that movie? It's two times during the '60s, and then I think the modern version was with Denzel Washington. But scary stuff. So Barry Lee says the funniest part is when Putin offered to allow Mueller and others to interview those indicted in Russia. To me, Barry Lee, the funniest part was when Putin went over and winked like that. Okay. That's the funny ha 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 moment, where he starts off like, what? Barry Lee says, and then Russia wanted to interview those they said were spying on Russia. John Mark says, hi guys. Hey, how you doing? And Ed says, that's deep, Zen. Well, thanks. It's logical. Deep, yeah, but it's logical. How else to explain it? There's another theory going around town that was put on my Facebook page, and I hesitate to dive into these conspiracy theories, right? But this one, the more I think about it, the more sense it makes. And I'm going to share it in a second when I find it, because when I read it to you, I really think I would like to know a reaction after I read it to you, okay? So there is really something here. Hold on a second. This goes back a bit. Oh, where is it? Okay. It goes back to yesterday. And goes back to yesterday, July 15th. I saw her birthday. Let's see here. It was, this guy's name is Jeff Green. Anyway, it had to do with, this is 14th. Yeah, maybe it was last week. Okay, anyway, it had to do with a theory that the reason why President Trump was going through all of this was that he has some sort of scheme that ultimately will make him one of the richest men in the world, richest people in the world. I guess presumably he wants to catch Jeff Bezos, right? You heard about that? Jeff Bezos is the richest person ever in our history. That's what ever in our history. You heard me, ever in our history. Jeff Bezos is the richest person ever in our history. Let me try something here. Oh boy, okay, anyway, and it was put by this guy named Pete something or other. Let me see here. Trump, Putin, oil deal, oil connection. Yeah, that's it. Pump Truden oil connection. Here is it. Here it is. And it's, Yeah, here it is. Did Putin help elect Trump? This is January 8th of 18th of 2017. And the idea is that Putin Trump helped elect Trump to restore a $500 billion Exxon oil deal that was killed, all right? And this is by Think Progress, and it goes like this. And it says, will Trump repay Putin by ending Russian sanctions and killing the Paris climate deal? Remember how President Trump wanted to kill the Paris climate deal? First he wasn't going to do it, then he was going to do it, then he wasn't going to do it, then he was going to do it, then he did it, right? So here's how it goes. It's basically goes like this. It basically says the puzzle disappears. They follow the famous dictum from the Washington era, follow the money, the Watergate era. And perhaps another puzzle solved, why did Putin take such a fearful risk? This guy goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? I wish he would just write it and get to the point, because he made this a lot smaller. Basically says these leaks show a $2 billion trail of offshore accounts and deals that trace back to Putin and his cabal of kleptocrats who, among other things, were getting rich trading shares in something called Rosneft, which is Russia's state-owned oil monopoly. But $500 billion to line their pockets and prop up the Russian economy offers a much more tangible motivation for Putin to get Trump elected. And it was Tillerson who made the $500 billion oil deal with Putin that got blocked by the sanctions. So blocking the deal did not just put Exxon at risk, as the Wall Street Journal reported in 2014, but Rachel Maddow of MSNBC explained last month that the biggest oil deal in history was expected to change the historical trajectory of Russia. And the top priority for Putin and the kleptocrats who benefit from his ruling, entrenching the Kremlin's coffers in their own, which have been hurt by the sanctions. And Trump's election already appears to have delivered $11 billion to the Kremlin through the sale of a 19.5% stake in Rosneft, confounding expectations that the Kremlin's standoff with the West would scare off major investors, as Fortune has reported in a piece they say is must read, okay? So they say that's why it matters so much what Trump and his cabinet do in response to overwhelming evidence that Putin did clandestinely interfere in the election. In fact, he said, hey, look, I want Trump elected. But on the other hand, as my mom pointed out, why wouldn't he say that? What's wrong with saying that? She's got a point there, and so he said, including working with Congress to pass a stiff sanctions package that instead sticks with Putin, he'll have proved Putin and Trump's all critics right. He really is a patsy for Putin. And that's what happened. Conservative columnist Jennifer Rubin writes, if Trump doesn't aggressively go after him and he sticks with him, he will have proved everybody right that he's a patsy for him. Well, folks, this was written, when I'm reading to you, was written, again, not this year at all. Let me get this straight in terms of its date. This was written January 8th of 2017. This was written over a year ago plus. And that was in the black and white, all right? And that was a year ago plus. And then it says, indeed, if Trump and Tillerson instead in the sanctions that are blocking the Exxon Rosneft deal, it's going to look suspiciously like $500 billion quid pro quo for Putin's help getting elected. And if Trump, and see, I'm going to go a step further. I think Trump getting elected made him rich like that. I think he had a new source of cash flowing through his businesses that are from these folks. He still has operational businesses. He hasn't shut them down. And this whole deal about a blind trust, him getting out of that business like Barack said he should do, he just said, this is basically what President Trump did. Oh, yeah, you're right, Block. Like hell, I'm getting out of those deals, but I'm not telling him. Okay? So, this is basically, if you're trying to figure out what's wrong with this, Let me help you out. It is illegal for a president of the United States to use his or her office for personal gain in this way that I'm talking about. Now, I don't know the penalty is if it's matched with treason. I could see a scenario where maybe I don't want to say that. Okay. Anyway, I'll get to your comments. And so let's see here. Hey, Cowboy Wrestler, how you doing? Is all right. I better put my political face on. I don't know if it has to be a political face so much as it has to be a what? A policy face. There's a difference because this is an issue that crosses party lines. It really does. I feel like we've been invaded. And to a person who will be 56 August 4th and is old enough to remember when we were practicing going into the basement out of fear of nuclear war, I always think, how close are we to that clock? That doomsday clock that we have going in a direction we don't want it to go in. And we've really had a great run of freedom and democracy that, for rightly so, we believe should go on forever. What we don't understand is that there are people who look at us in a way that's very envious, and they believe that we can be controlled in some kind of way. And I think those factions are winning. I mean, that's why I said the other night, and that's why I really dislike it when people get on Facebook and they use that as in a slavish way rather than making their own blogs and their own platforms. It's a form of controlled socialism. You are 2 billion people under the rule of Mark Zuckerberg. That's it. And it's for no other reason than what he has figured out you and I like to do, which is be a voyeur and check out what other people are doing. And on that platform, people see Facebook as a Swiss Army knife. They put their businesses on there, websites, dating, everything else, right? Suddenly your whole life is on there. You're a slave to it, and therefore you're a slave to whatever direction or message he comes up with or somebody else manipulates to be put out there. And that is what happened. See, in all these different facets of life, we have this gigantic herd mentality. And I mean, part of it's human nature, part of it, I don't know. But anyway, Rob Iman says, time to invoke the 25th Amendment. Barry Lee says, for B, I beg the question is, what is Trump doing? Is he bowing to Russia in order to get personal deals? Or is more like if Putin and Russia have something on him? Barry Lee also then says, I have a question. When will the GOP say enough is enough and either impeach him or put up someone else in 2020? As long as people like Rand Paul are around, that's not going to happen like that. John Mark says, will the federal government be successful in their lawsuit against Clark County? That's a different animal than this, and that's something that can be settled by Clark County selling that property at market value to the Raiders, which would cost the Raiders about $200 million. Cowboy Wrestler says, Barry Lee, they're not going to remove Trump because they're getting everything they want, such as tax cuts, cuts to the safety net, pro-NRA stances, etc., etc. See, yep. John Mark says, yep, Cowboy Wrestler is right on this one. Yep, he is. Barry Lee says, does anyone believe that Trump will lose some of his upper cabinet members because of Trump's actions today? Well, so far it hasn't happened. I think one or two might leave or be fired for taking a stand. We'll see. Rob Iman says, time for impeachment, double exclamation point. John Mark says, you might see the Trump leaving before the end of 2020. Hey, Sean Grogan, how you doing? John Mark says hello. We all say hello to Sean Grogan. And the champ is here. T. Cooper, how you doing? Barry Lee says, I agree with Zennie. He's using his office to profit personally, and that's why he won't stand up to Putin because of the deals he has with Russia. Corey Brown says, John Marks, what's going on with the feds in Clark County? I'll explain that in a second after. I'll get back to that one. I'm going through your comments right now saying, hey, John Marks says might leave. Rob Iman says that John Marks then says feds filed suit against Clark County because they haven't leased the land for less than market value to the Raiders. That's correct. Thank you, John Marks. Cowboy Rush says, John Marks, if the Dems retake Congress in November, it won't happen. The GOP remains in control. Corey Brown says, oh, okay, thanks to the whole issue of the lawsuit. Barry Lee says, I feel like we are back in the late 70s and especially the early 80s thanks to Russia. Remember the TV movie The Day After? I do. John Mark says, you're welcome to Corey Brown. Rob Iman says, the voters will send a strong message in November. You hope. I have less enthusiasm for that possibility. I certainly hope you're right. John Mark says, the voters have to get a voice in this. They have to take a voice. Rob Iman says, Dems can now lick their chops in taking the Senate. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there to happen. Rob Iman then says, this is Watergate all over again. Sean Grogan says, just got back from camping for the last 4 days. Seems like I missed a lot. Yes, you did. Now, yeah, I think John Marks explained the whole Clark County situation quite succinctly. He really did. And somebody else, by the way, got mad. This is talking about the Raiders. Got angry that I said there was fake news, and said, well, they keep saying that the deal is what, on track, in the red, in the black, right? Or what's the term? The stadium authorities ahead of projections. Folks, those projections are budget projections. They have nothing to do with the bond issue itself. They have nothing to do with the ability of the bond revenues, or tax revenues, to cover the average bond debt. Excuse me, the average. They have nothing to do with the average revenue from the stadium tax collected to cover what will be the bond debt times the debt coverage ratio of 1.5 per month. You do that for the first year, you're $5 million in the hole, deficit. All right, so there you go. Now back to the other one. John Mark says, thank you. Hey, ML Scott, how are you? Cabot Russell says, the Russians and the bank in Germany were the only ones to loan Trump money after his bankruptcies. It makes total sense that Trump won't go after Putin and Russia because of the, as the old saying goes, John Mark says, protections for the bond revenue are behind, projections for the bond revenue behind the scenes. No, they're not, John Marks. The original bond, the stadium tax projections were done by the SNTIC. Now the bond debt service is right there online. You can download it. I have a copy of it. Happy to send it to you. They list, as they're supposed to do, and they do, the debt service year to year for 30 years. So it starts out at just over 36 million. It dips to 33 million. And I think it goes up to 34 million, and then it eventually approaches back to 36 million in another after 4 years, and then it goes north of that. Okay, so, but the problem is that the average revenue from this tax produces a deficit the first year, and even though I believe in the next year it dips, it just rises out a little bit. That little bit it rises out of it. The difference between revenue and expenses is not enough to clear the deficit that's already been incurred. All right? So there's a problem there. And the bigger problem is that the average, let me make it really simple. They need $5 million a month base to have that waterfall and the extra money. They don't have that. They have it just a little over $4 million per month. That's the problem. And the average before the most recent 2 months was $4,010,000. That increased to, guess what, $4,070,000. That's it. So they're saying, oh, this is going to go up, it's going to increase, it's going to do that. And it really, it's not so much that it hasn't, but it's starting off from a base that's much smaller than it should be. Why? Because the tax rate is too small. I've said that for now almost 2 years. The tax rate is too small. Math. Okay? Oh, and by the way, I've said this before, I'll say this again. I'm not wrong. Just because I thought the NFL wasn't going to kick Mark in the butt by basically giving him what he wanted in Davis doesn't mean I was wrong about the deal. The deal was bad. Look, the deal was bad before the vote. The deal was bad during the vote. The deal is still bad. All right? Now, coming back to the Trump thing, Cowboy Russ says the Russians and the bank in Germany were the only ones to loan Trump money after his bankruptcies. It makes total sense that Trump won't go after Putin and Russia because, as the old saying goes, and okay, and then I'm repeating that one. And so, John Alcala says, could the building of the stadium in Las Vegas be in jeopardy? Why do you ask? Barry Lee says, does anyone know why they would sue Clark County? Well, because the federal government had a deal basically saying they're supposed to sell the land at market value, and they did. They sold it below. And Barry Lee says, because it's a tax-funded project that doesn't meet federal standards. No, you're mixing apples and oranges, all right? The lawsuit has nothing to do with the stadium. It's all about Clark County and Billy Walters and how they handled it. It's got nothing to do with the Raiders. It's got nothing to do with the stadium. Forget it, all right? It just happens to be an impediment. Cowboy Russia writes, 101 degrees in Dallas today. Woo! They also was Saharan dust in the air here. No, I didn't know that. John Mark says Raiders wouldn't be able to afford it. No. So anyway, that's, you know. Oh, excuse me. That's the issue as far as what's going on with the Raiders. I haven't checked to see what the latest news is because I couldn't sleep last night. God, I just was up typing stuff and trying to. Oh, by the way, I finished the Zennie62 Media pitch deck. So I've sent that out to a couple of potential investors. Very happy about that. Very excited. And like I said, Oakland News Now is working really well. Very excited about that, to say the least. And it seems like everything is going along just the way I would, like it to go. For the most part, almost everything. Doggone it. Oh, let's see here. Wait a minute. Just trying to check something here. Okay. That did not happen. Boy, oh boy. All right. Phew. Okay. Getting back to your thoughts and emotions and everything else. Wow. Oh, hey, it did make it. Woohoo! Never mind. All right. This is what I was a little worried about something first. Let me explain what was going on, right? I trying to help out women's rugby. They got a fundraiser coming up. So I wrote a blog post. It says and I searched Women Rugby World Cup 2007's party, right? So there's videos, party here, right? On the 10th, that's what they had there. All right, and that's what they had, right? Party, okay? And so I was a little disappointed. I thought, God, dog, I didn't hit the marks. It didn't hit Google News. And then I scrolled down and ta-da! Meet USA, top stories. Meet USA Women's Eagles Sevens rugby team at Oakland fundraising party. before Rugby World Cup Sevens 2018. In other words, cha-ching, baby, I hit the mark. Woo! So yeah, that's yay, dude. Anyway, hey, what I gotta say? Modern media, right? Ta-da! And did that one. All right, now, okay. John Marks says Mark Davis acts like he can afford the project. John Marks also says Oakland News now kicks butt. Thank you. Hey, now let me go back. Oh, Ms. Zeitgeist. Hi, Ms. Zeitgeist. Ms. Zeitgeist says I have a feeling Vegas will be like the Rams in St. Louis. People come as long as they're playing well, but when they're not, the stadium's a ghost town. Bradley says, oh, thanks, Zennie. That's why I asked, because I didn't understand. Thanks for clearing that up for me. Oh, you're welcome. Cool. Let's see what the news today is. I have not. Let's see what stories are being cooked up regarding the Review Journal. Oh, neat. Video shows violent police pursuit near downtown Las Vegas. Okay. A photograph of a guy with a gun, pointing it. Second photograph. Lawsuit claims MGM has no liability to Las Vegas shooting victims. Ooh. Education, shooting survivors, activists in Las Vegas on, well, that's very attractive. Golden Entertainment buying 2 Laughlin properties for $190 million. Looks like a plant. Nothing about the Raiders. Health, politics and government. Trump maintains no collusion as Putin denies meddling. You have to remember, who does Sheldon Adelson bankroll? Donald Trump. I wonder what he thinks of this. Wow. Amazon Prime Day, our lives with a few technical difficulties. Okay. Kitchen at Atomic serves diverse, delicious fare. There's 5:15's baseball. Clark County special election. That's about it. It's 103 degrees. 103 degrees. Wow. NBA Summer League. Yuta Watanabe gets a chance. So, anyway. Nothing going on. Raiders' success. Oh, we know about that. Raiders' success in selling Las Vegas tickets makes some uneasy. That's an old one. So, nothing really Review Journal. I haven't looked at, what's his name? John Ralston's. I haven't looked at John Ralston's site in a while. The Nevada Independent. Trump fundraiser nets nearly $500,000 for Heller-linked group. Ooh. That was July 16th. Groundwater concerns and desert development clash again in Coyote Springs. Let's see, Indy Matters. Investors announced massive solar project outside Las Vegas as the Bureau of Land Management solicits public comment. Horsford opponent Hardy's 3 debate proposals a great start. Okay. Rob Iman says the Amazing A's are about to become the front page news in Oakland. I gotta check that. Oh, by the way, I got some news there too. Can anyone tell me why Nevada politicians are blaming Jerry Brown for the crime spike in Vegas? Beats me. Well, it does beat me. I don't know. Cowboy Wrestler says John Marks the greatest show on turf. Mark says Raiders have spent $172 million on a project according to. Hey John, rather than reading the Review Journal, why don't go to the Las Vegas Stadium Authority site and get the stadium budget document itself and read it and quote that, but do not quote the Review Journal. In other words, what I'm trying to get people to do is just go to the source, right? Get the information, okay? Barry Lee says, did anyone see the video where a Vegas police officer was shooting through his windshield while chasing suspects? Yeah, that's what was just shown. I didn't activate it to show it for copyright reasons. Malcolmton says, so exactly who do the Raiders think can afford tickets to attend games in Las Vegas? Are there truly 65,000 of those people? They haven't said. They haven't. And again, no data, no documents proving they sold anything have been released to the public. So I don't believe what they say. Sales are going well. Sales are brisk. Compared to what? Your expectations? Yeah. John Mark says, Californians moving to Vegas. Cowboy Wrestler says, Z, love, you're smart in details about the Raiders Stadium planning. Oh, thank you. Zeitgeist writes, I know 5 people from California that have moved to Vegas and they all have buyer's remorse. Hey, the problem is that Las Vegas is a bit of an underdeveloped thing. It's what it has going for it is newness. New buildings here, new restaurant there, right? It's when I say it's the adult Disneyland, I say it for an entirely different reason. You know how Disneyland's always building something new? You know, you've got a little new installation over here or there. That's Las Vegas. And yet, it's a playground. It's fun, right? Rob Iman says, Mount Davis will be up the next Saturday. Ms. Zeitgeist says, it looks like the only positive moving there is cheap housing. Yeah, it is. That's true. But by the way, it's expected that the A's are going to make an announcement regarding their decided upon location for a baseball stadium. They said after the All-Star break. So the All-Star game is what? Like we have it, right? So this week. So I would think soon. And it seems to be pointing toward Howard Terminal. Yay! I mean, I would if he said the Coliseum, I'd be like, yay! I think both sites have their charm, but I'm sorry, as a guy who is a great proponent, a master proponent of downtown stadiums, I think that is exactly what Oakland needs. I really do, and I think we can pull it off too. And I think it's going to remake that part of Oakland. It's gonna be for Oakland what AT&T was for that part of San Francisco. It just hands down will be incredible. It'll be nice. We'll have something nice for a change. We've always been so insecure about having nice things. I never understood that. It's like we're afraid of success like that. I don't get that. Barry Lee says, yeah, my question would be what happens when the honeymoon is over in Vegas? Well, if things go the way they're going right now, the Raiders will have a little extra debt. The question is, will gambling be able to offset that? That's the big question. Okay. John Mark says, if the A's pick up Howard Terminal, how do we redevelop the Coliseum? Coliseum Series reboot? That's still possible. Ms. Zeitgeist says, so the A's want the East Bay version of AT&T Park on the water? Ms. Zeitgeist, we've wanted that for quite some time. Joseph Binsman, how you doing? Welcome. Rob Iman says, hey, any Giants news? Rob Iman says, the A's winning is really good field story, good for Oakland. Yeah. John Marks says, buyer's remorse in Vegas. Barry Lee says, after the A's new stadium is built, Major League Baseball should give Oakland the All-Star games as soon as possible for Oakland to show the NFL what they're missing. Good idea. Which I think is going to happen anyway. But yeah, it's going to be something. It's going to be something. It really is. I'm going to stop, by the way, 120. So I'm going to stop at 145. Sorry for the short streams. Tomorrow, let me tell you what I've got cooking. I've got at 8 o'clock, at 8:30 tomorrow, I have Kevin Batchelder. Now you would say, who is that? But let me ask you this question. Have you ever heard of Winona Earp by a Y or a yes? Y is for yes, N is for no. Have you ever heard of the TV show on Sci-Fi called Winona Earp? Well, of course you have now, right? Giants are at crossroads. Bradley says, not all games, I'm in a game. Okay. Winona Earp. John Mark says no. John, of all people, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that you, of all people, have not. Who else? John Akala says no. Daryl says yes. Woo, we got a yes. We got a yes. Woohoo! We got a yes. We got a yes. Who else? All right. Kevin Batchelder is a big Winona Earp fan. He's so big that he gets invited to cover what they do at Comic-Con as part of this junket. And to explain Winona Earp in total, okay? It's, how would I describe it? It's a TV series, and I'm going to read the description. It says, Winona Earp is based on the comic book by Bo Smith of the same name, not Bo Smith and Winona Earp. Melanie Scorfano plays the series' titular character. You know, I think we went through this before last year, right? Or maybe the year before that. Anyway, no, actually, it was different. We did go through it. We didn't have a live stream last time I did this, okay? Anyway, no, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Anyway, all right. The season started July 23rd, 2016. It was renewed for a second season. This is the third season. And its genre is considered, and this is why I'm surprised you had not heard of it, John Marks. Dark fantasy, drama, horror, western, supernatural, created by Emily Andres. All right. So the plot basically is Winona Earp is the great-great-granddaughter of legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. She battles revenants, the reincarnated outlaws that Wyatt Earp killed. She also fights other supernatural beings that inhabit the Ghost River Triangle, a cursed territory near the Canadian Rockies that includes Purgatory, her hometown. Upon her 27th birthday, Winona inherited the special power to return revenants to hell with her ancestors' 16-inch barrel special Peacemaster revolver. She is recruited by the Black Badge Division, a secret government agency led by Special Agent Xavier Dawes, which eventually includes an ageless Doc Holliday and Winona's sister, Waverly Earp. Nicole Hott, Waverly's girlfriend, and Purgatory Sheriff Deputy assist the team in her local police role. Okay? So, the first season enters in Winona fighting the Revenants. So anyway, that's what it's all about, all right? So Kevin's going to come on and talk to us about what to expect at Comic-Con for Winona Earp Season 3 in the panel, how his involvement with Winona Earp has grown and changed, to what extent it has, in terms of, or as much as it has for, you know, a fan, right? That sort of thing. So that's what's going on there, all right? Daryl says Winona Earp is really funny. Really? I gotta watch it. I should find a clip and watch something. Cowboy Russia says the Republicans better be worried about Nevada regarding Heller's Senate seat. Yeah, what's going on with Dean? He seems a little. Ugh. John Mark says, okay, now you need to read the Winchester Boys in this. Okay. Barry Lee says, I don't watch all Sci-Fi Channel anymore since they canceled Dark Matter. You know, I miss Dark Matter. It's got to be coming on. Have you searched around for it online, Barry Lee? Cowboy Wrestler writes, growing Hispanic population plays a more open-minded... No. Cowboy Wrestler writes, growing Hispanic population plus a more open-minded population spells trouble for GOP. John Mark says, I need to watch Winona Earp. I think the GOP is transforming. Citron says, all sci-fi shows are on Netflix. See, I have Netflix. So I can watch, it tomorrow. Ooh, thank you. John Akala says, I remember an old Star Trek episode with Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. I do too. It wasn't one of my favorites. That was third season. Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday were robots, as I recall. Ms. Zeitgeist says, Nevada's primary turnout was worse than California's. And see, that's what bothers me. When everyone says, this is going to be the year that we turn everything around and this is it. And then we get information like that, right? And I think, you know, for all the hullabaloo about, oh, people are going to get out to vote and this is going to make change, and I go to events, in fact, I'm supposed to meet the representative of the Democratic Party tomorrow, it's always, yeah, we're in it, but then, no. Okay? And see, in this hyper media world, I'm betting, though not betting the farm, that there will be so much media gone under the bridge that unless this media continues the focus in some weird way on what happened today, you're not going to get a huge turnout. Just saying. Okay? Now, Barry Lee says, Dark Matter was a good show. Thanks for nothing, Sci-Fi Channel. Doggone, I'm mad. Malcolm says, if the A's go to our Howard Terminal, we could have a massive convention center and new hotels at the Coliseum site. John Mark says yes. John Marks also says, plus new soccer stadium for East Bay, Oakland Stompers. Daryl says, Dark Matter was my favorite show. Joseph, I gotta see this Dark Matter. Joseph Binsman says, well, I've seen stats on which registered voters for the last few months, Democratic registered voters are a lot more than Republican registered voters. As long as that continues, I'll be happy. I just hope it translates into putting the vote, you know, voting, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Registered, great. But go out there and pull the trigger. You know, pull the trigger. Make it work. Do not fear to make change. Pull the trigger. Because, you know, we're counting on you to make the difference, you know. Pull the trigger. Just saying. John Mark says, why not use the Coliseum City reboot to get an NFL team for Oakland? You could. Cleveland Count says, Dark Matter is also on Netflix. Rob Ivan says, Dems are more motivated. Now, Binsman says, and let's hope the Russians don't screw up this election too. They'll be involved, unfortunately. Really? We need to take that out. Rob Iman says, Coliseum site could now become a housing project. No! I like the mixed use, but no! Leave it for a football stadium and a convention center. No, I hate that. No. Joseph Bill says, yes, Trump isn't stopping the Russians from interfering, laugh out loud. Cowboy Russell says, but didn't the A's owner raise concerns about the water at Howard Terminal? He did, but that's an engineering problem. It doesn't mean it's, you know, an insurmountable one, right? Barry Lee says, yeah, Dark Matter is on Netflix, but only 3 seasons and no more cause it's canceled and the show ended in season 3 on a cliffhanger. Was that cliffhanger ever resolved by a special, Barry Lee? Rob Ivan says, congrats to Dave Cowell for getting things done in Oakland. Yes, to Cowell. Miguel says, Vive la France. I say, Vive la France. Vive la France. Corey Brown says 30 owners believe we didn't have a viable plan, or so would they even want to put another team here? 30 owners? What are you talking about? Wait, what do you mean? Huh. Anyway. The NFL has 32 teams. Cowboy Rush says, what's on the menu? Dave Cavall. That's it. No, not much because, you know, it's 1:37. I'm getting ready to go. So, I ate dinner. It is, yeah. Cowboy Rush says, John Marks, Cavall to 2020. Oh, you know what? I forgot to see if the Review Journal. Oh, wait a minute. I mentioned the Nevada Independent, right? But see here, I did not mention the Las Vegas Sun. I don't see anything on the Review Journal. The Review Journal has all but avoided and ignored the Raiders situation. It will not touch that, with a 10-foot pole leading me to believe that somewhere, somehow, someone is paying money to the Divine Independent to avoid the whole thing. Just saying. I don't think that's a very good thing myself. Just saying. Oh, let's see here. Bradley says season 1 opens on Dark Matter with the crew waking up from frozen status with no memory of who they are. Ooh. Well, that holy. What is it? What is it? They wipe out your brain. A holy minesweeper. Holy minesweeper. What's I doing here? Up to Summit. I was trying to find something here that. Oh, anyway, Comic-Con is this week, San Diego, and Rugby World Cup Sevens is this week. I'm credentialed for rugby, which means I can't go to Comic-Con. But you know, I mean, I was curtailing that because Mom was sick. You know, and I didn't get the investor I wanted to get. No, it didn't work out. Oh well, but life goes on. But I got a great pitch deck out. Okay. You ever have this thing that you remembered you were going to do, but then you go to do it, right? And you go to do it, and you forgot what it was that you were going to do? Well, that's what I'm experiencing here, because I pushed this. I was going to, oh, that's right, Las Vegas Sun. Got it. See, I was going to check on the Las Vegas Sun, but then I see John Alston's face, and I forget it. All right. Now we're at the Las Vegas Sun. Caesars breaks ground on $375 million conference center on the Strip. Wow. Wow. $375 million. Now see, here's the difference between the Review Journal, owned by a Republican, and Las Vegas Sands, owned by a Democrat. Look at this, okay? I want you to see this real quick, folks. Look at this. Wave of flack hits Trump after summit with Putin, okay? That's the Las Vegas Sun, okay? That's the difference, all right? Because he's a Democrat. Ryan is. Nothing. MGM Resort says eliminating straws has caused a little stir. Ooh, that's a bad title. You know, you use a straw to stir, right? Eliminating straws has caused a little stir. Ooh, that's, you know what that is? Use a pun, go to jail. Oh, that's punny. The most popular story is Ajah Wilson speaks up on issue of WNBA pay disparity. Disgraceful. Trump blasted by both parties after Putin meeting. Q&A, North Las Vegas city manager on impact of Apex reshaping downtown. I'm reading all this because I don't see anything on my signature topic, and our signature topic, the Raiders construction, right? There's nothing here. As I would say, nothing to see here. Food truck flavors. Boy. I get the impression Las Vegas, though, is slowly being split apart by these. It just doesn't seem like it's got that one powerful industry anymore. Just the sense that I get. Now, your comments here. Your comments or what? Where are they? You do have comments, yes. All right. Good night, Barry Lee. Ms. Zyka says, you see the cartoons that Mike Lukovic had done to Trump. Sean Grogan says, Brent Musburger agreed to terms on a 2-year deal to announce Raider games once they move to Vegas. Is that true? I don't know that that's true or not. Joseph Binsman says, not enough Republicans are coming out against Trump to me. That's been a trend a couple of years. I agree with you. And Alava says, just watch the trailer for Winona Earp. It looks wild. Whoa. Cowboy Wrestler says, love Papa's play calling. It's a shame that he's leaving. Malcontent Z, any news on the MSG Sphere? Rob Iman says, stay away from Musburger. Let me see something here. First of all, play calling. What? Has the Greg Papa thing been confirmed? Because I put that out there to confirm it. Greg Papa. Raiders announcer Papa rumored to be interested in 49er job. Wikipedia. Let's see here. I don't see any. Okay. In terms of news, Greg Papa fired by Oakland Raiders. Is that rumor true? That's my blog is #1. Hey, look at this, folks. Woo! Look at this. What happens when I, all right, look at this. Woo-hoo! All right, this is Greg Papa, right? Okay. So I click on news. Ta-da! Look at that. Woo-hoo! Ta-da! All right, over, I don't even know who that is. Over those guys. Over those guys. Over those guys. All right. Especially over the Atlantic. Boo! All right. Woo-hoo! All right. Hey, folks, it is 1:44. I'm going to do that. All right. So I will see you all tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow at 8. We'll just come on by 8. Winona Earp for 30 minutes. Kevin Batchelder. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern. It's early. 8 o'clock Eastern, which means it's 5 o'clock in the West, okay? Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. See ya. Good night. Remember, good night, everybody. Watch Winona Earp. Watch horror films. Keep America strong. See ya. I like that. And we don't mean musty either, folks. We mean strong. See you later. All right.